The episode opens up at the Cybertron warehouse where three men have broken inside. Two of them sound skeptical about finding anything worth stealing inside the warehouse, but their friend tells them that the warehouse is filled with powerful tech that they can steal and sell on the black market for millions. As they begin moving inside the dark warehouse, one of the men uses his flashlight to look around and spots a mysterious-looking crate. He asks his friends to help him open the box, but just as they touch, something breaks out of the box and stands tall before them. To their surprise, they discover that it is Batman. Knowing that they are going to get caught, the three of them rush towards the exit. However, only one of the robbers gets away and hides behind a few boxes while trying to load his weapon. His friends, on the other hand, are caught and taken down. As Batman approaches him, the robber steps out of hiding and starts shooting at him. Soon he runs out of bullets, but finds that Batman is still standing. To his surprise, he also notices wires protruding out of his stomach and realizes that he is not dealing with a human. On the other hand, Batman returns to his manor and stops in front of a mirror. Seeing his mechanical insides, he realizes that something is wrong as he does not recognize himself. He continues to look around and finds a photograph of him with his parents. Just then, he hears Alfred behind him. Alfred was holding up a bat since he thought that someone had broken into the Wayne Manor. However, once he turns on the lights, he finds that it is only Batman, but immediately notices that something is off. Batman stumbles towards him and tells him that something is wrong with him. At this point, Alfred takes note of his mechanical interior. Meanwhile, the real Batman reaches the crime scene, the same as the police do. There, he meets with Police Commissioner Jim Gordon. The two of them look up and discover the three men tied in front of the warehouse's signboard. As the two of them move closer to the criminals, Jim plucks Batman's boomerang that is stuck on their shirt and hands it back to Batman, claiming that it belongs to him. Once he takes a closer look, Batman finds a small device stuck to one of the criminal's shirts and takes Jim to the corner as the criminal begins to scream that he is not human and begs him to stay away. As soon as they are away from prying ears, Batman confesses that he did not catch the criminals, leaving Jim confused, who begins to wonder who might be responsible for taking the criminals down. Back at the Wayne Manor, Alfred realizes that the Batman in front of him is one of Carl Rossum's duplicates. He tries to hit the duplicate Batman with a stick and asks him what he has done with the real Batman. The duplicate Batman continues to move towards him until he eventually takes his mask off and tries to convince Alfred that he is the real Batman. Alfred knows that he might be in danger and presses a button that opens up the secret door for him. He rushes inside the cave and puts on a gas mask before hitting the gas button in hopes that it would knock the duplicate out. However, he is not that lucky because the gas does not affect the duplicate Batman, and he suddenly grabs Alfred from behind before taking his gas mask off. Alfred begins to choke on the gas until he loses consciousness. The duplicate apologizes to him for harming him, but claims that he needs answers. Once he turns the gas off, he asks the computer to access Duplicate.
Duplicate.
A few minutes later, an automated voice starts explaining that a duplicate is a lifelike robot that is capable of mimicking human behavior. It is then revealed that all duplicates are designed and assembled by Cybertron Industries' holographic analytical reciprocating digital computer, which is also known as HARDAC. He then asks the computer about the probability of a Batman duplicate, who responds by saying that there is insufficient data about it. Despite this, the duplicate Batman refuses to give up without getting some answers and asks the computer to locate Carl Rossum since he had heard Alfred mention that he might have been one of his creations. On the other hand, the real Batman goes to meet Rossum, who has now turned his life around and works at a farm. He shows Rossum the device he had found on the criminals and asks him if he has been working on creating duplicates again. However, Rossum swears that he has moved on and has given up on trying to recreate life. He claims that Hardak has been destroyed and whatever was left of it was taken into police custody. Knowing that he is telling the truth, Batman walks away. Later that night, Rossum is thinking about his interaction with Batman when he hears someone behind him. Assuming that it is Batman approaching him again, he turns around and says that he has nothing else to tell him. To his surprise, he discovers that it is the duplicate Batman. Once he is cornered, the duplicate Batman tells him that he needs his help. He pulls his cloak aside to reveal his broken interior and begs Rossum to help him. He claims that someone has stolen his body and trapped his consciousness inside a robot. Rossum takes a closer look at his damaged body and tells him that the damage is far too extensive for him to fix anything. When the duplicate Batman insists that he has been trapped inside the robotic body, Rossum tries to reason with him by telling him that he is confused. The duplicate Batman has a hard time believing this and insists that he is a real person because he has memories and a past. Rossum tells him he has data that was installed, even pointing out that he cannot recall feelings like having his first kiss or tasting steak for the first time. Before duplicate Batman can attack him again, the real Batman, who had been hiding at the farm, decides to make an appearance and kicks the duplicate down. However, this does not last for long as the robot gets up again and manages to overpower him. When the real Batman falls into a pit, he hides behind a tree to come up with a better plan. While the duplicate is busy looking around for him, the real Batman notices a garden hose and decides to turn it on. He sprays the robot with water, causing him to malfunction and fall to the ground. Rossum runs towards them with an axe, intent on destroying the duplicate once and forever, but Batman stops him, claiming that they need to keep the machine alive in order to find out if Hardak has been reactivated. Unbeknownst to them, the duplicate's eyes begin to turn red. Just as Batman goes to turn the duplicate around, the duplicate decides to attack. Batman acts quickly and tackles the duplicate. As the two of them continue to fight, the duplicate throws Batman out of the glass greenhouse, causing the entire structure to collapse. The duplicate's instincts light up and he rushes towards Rossum, who was standing in the middle of the collapsing greenhouse, and flings him out, protecting him from the glass. Once the dust clears, Rossum claims that they have finally lost the duplicate, but Batman remains alert and replies by saying that it is not gone forever. He then gets into the Batmobile and heads to the Gotham City Police Department impound yard to find Hardak remains. Coincidentally, this is also where the duplicate Batman is. As he sneaks inside, the duplicate manages to locate Hardak remains and goes to take a closer look. This is when he hears machinery whirring before an automated voice announces that the startup program has been initiated. The duplicate begins to feel strange and its body starts to move on its own. He grabs a plug, and the automated voice announces that operational circuitry is being inserted. A repair sequence is initiated as soon as the duplicate plugs the operational circuitry. Once the repairs are complete, the automated voice once again announces that a memory error has been detected, and its memory files are being configured. Hardak begins speaking and reveals that just before it was destroyed, it created one last duplicate. However, before the memory process could be completed, Hardak was destroyed. This is why the duplicate was made to seek out Hardak's remains, so that it could act as Hardak once the configuration was complete. Sure enough, with the configuration completed, duplicate Batman begins to act as Hardak and continues on its mission of replacing humanity with duplicates. The duplicate Batman then spots the real Batman arriving at the impound yard and claims that they will begin by getting rid of the real Batman. When the real Batman enters the building, the duplicate attacks him and quickly gets the upper hand. Finally, he pushes Batman out of the building into the river below them. Sometime later, he arrives at the Batcave where Alfred greets him. He tells Alfred that he needs to make repairs in the cave until his duplicate is created. He then plugs the operational circuitry into the computer and reveals that Hardak will imprint itself on every computer on Earth to successfully create duplicates for everyone on Earth. Alfred claims that humanity will fight back, but the duplicate disagrees. Just then, the real Batman arrives at the Batcave as well and tells the duplicate that he has underestimated how resilient humans are. The duplicate activates Hardak and rushes towards Batman, intending to kill him. However, as they continue to fight, Batman realizes that the duplicate is identical to him, which means that it cannot kill anyone. When the duplicate finally has the real Batman cornered, he once again attacks, causing the real Batman to slip and fall over a cliff. Assuming that it has taken a life, the duplicate begins to malfunction, and in its fury, destroys the computer, stopping Hardak's plan from proceeding further. As the computer explodes, the duplicate gets knocked back and gets doused with water from the fire sprinklers. With the duplicate shut down forever, Alfred finds that Batman is well and alive. He had used his own inability to hurt others to take down the duplicate from getting rid of humanity. Thank you for watching. Check out these other videos, and make sure to subscribe and tap the bell to be notified about our latest videos. See you next time.